So much for coming out and being a part of this. As Dr. Doswell mentioned, this is a very, very special evening for us. We're all very excited to have one of, and according to Sports Illustrated, the greatest female athlete of the 20th century. That's one heck of a title to have. And to have her give of her time to be a part of this event is quite significant. There, as Ray mentioned, I'm not from East St. Louis, but man, I partied over on the east side. That was another life, though. I burned those photographs, so those will never surface. But Jackie and I had a great time this afternoon, talking about East St. Louis and some of the nightclubs that were over there when I was in college. But again, that's another story. This is about educating, not partying. This is about educating. And to moderate tonight's discussion, we're very excited to have them here, are two great friends of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. Join me in welcoming from Hot 103 Jams, KPRS. You hear her daily, Miss Julie Jones. And my dear friend, I tell this story all the time. When she first joined Metro Sports, it was the day of the announcement of Buck O'Neill's. We all thought Buck was going to get into the National Baseball Hall of Fame, and it didn't happen. So she drew the assignment that day. It was her first day on the job, and she gets to cover this dreadful decision that left our friend Buck O'Neill out of the Hall of Fame. And it's by one vote. I know the kids are too young to remember Buck. And you know, it's hard for me to even fathom that we've got young people in our community that never got to meet Buck O'Neill. And I want to say this while we have this group here tonight. The Royals continue to recognize Buck with the Buck O'Neill Legacy Seat. I encourage all of you to go online to Royals.com and nominate someone who's doing extraordinary things to help others in our community. And that's the beauty of the Legacy Seat program. Ordinary people who are doing extraordinary things. Go online, nominate them to sit in Buck's seat at the Cape, cheer our Royals on. That's my long-winded way of introducing from Metro Sports, Ms. Kenitra Pulliam. And as Dr. Doswell mentioned, we've had some outstanding guests be a part of Black women in sports. But, you know, there were 3 women to play professionally in the Negro Leagues. I don't know if you guys knew that or not. Mamie Peanut Johnson, Tony Stone, Mamie Peanut Johnson, and Connie Morgan. Pioneers, women who competed with and against the men in the 1950s. And there was a female owner in the Negro Leagues, Effa Manley, the first woman to own and operate a professional baseball team. She is the first woman to be nominated and inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. So women in sports is a big part of what the story of the Negro Leagues is all about. So it's not this far stretch for us to annually, as part of Women's History Month. How many of you knew that the month of March was Women's History Month? Okay, all right. For us to recognize the contributions of African-American women to the world of sports. Those contributions are varied, and those contributions are great. Our special guest tonight has made an indelible contribution to the world of sports. As I mentioned earlier, Sports Illustrated said that she was the greatest female athlete of the 20th century. Her record in the heptathlon still stands today. Yeah, and may never be broken. We know records are meant to be broken, but this one, I think, may stand for a while to come. You know, she left East St. Louis to go play basketball at UCLA, where she led her East St. Louis high school team to an undefeated state championship, went on to play tremendous basketball at UCLA, go play overseas, and of course is an Olympic gold medalist. And so it is my esteemed pleasure to bring to you the legendary Jackie Joyner-Kersee.
Good evening, everyone. everyone. You guys ready for this evening? Yeah. And let's give her one more big welcome, looking oh so fabulous. Now, we were talking backstage about your life coming from East St. Louis to where you are now. I heard somebody here from the Lou? Right there. And I find it fascinating that we can be in the state of Missouri, any city, and somebody can go to great heights, be known nationally and worldwide. What was that like for you coming up East St. Louis? And how many of y'all been to East St. Louis, first of all? Okay, can we agree it's not Overland Park, right? Okay, so what does it take to have the resilience to be successful? Because I always believe it's not about your zip code where you're from, but about what you put your mind to. Where you're from just helps you strengthen your character. Tell us about that journey for you, particularly being, down the road, I-70.
I do think a lot of it has to do with the mindset, and a lot of times as young people, we only know our own environment. And for me, it was about dreams and goals, and just really, I just wanted to make my parents proud. I got involved in athletics, and so everything that I did it in a manner of representing my family and representing myself and doing it to the best of my ability, and always knowing the things that I could accomplish with the support of others, trying to help me to get to the next level.
Now, your full first given name is Jacqueline, and you were named after Jacqueline Kennedy. Is it true that your grandmother said, this girl is going to be the first lady of something?
Yes, and she wrote it on the picture too. Said she would be the first lady of something, and I don't know, maybe.
What, from your grandmother to your brother, who's also an Olympian, what role did family play in your life?
Oh, family is very important. Always been and still is. And for me, my brother, my brother's the oldest, and me being the oldest girl, he would, make a basketball rim for me out of milk crates, cut the bottom out and nail it up to the tree so I could practice shooting basketball. He taught me how to play chess, and then we got involved in track and field. My brother wasn't one that enjoyed practicing, and I did, but he believed that he could just, do well without going to practice. And he had a bad habit of really bragging about how great he was to his friends. And so he did a match race, and I beat him. And I said, that's why you go to practice. Practice pays off.
Now, growing up, what role did the Mary Brown Community Center kind of play in shaping who you are and who you became?
The Mary Brown Center, it was a community center that they built in my community, and at the time when they were building it, we didn't know exactly what the building was going to be. We were very fascinated by this dome, and we thought it was going to be a skating rink. But little did we know that it became a community center. And as a part of that community center, they had a library, and I would go in and work with the librarian who helped me how to do check out books and book reports, as well as they had a program called Meals on Wheels. And the senior citizen, we did arts and crafts together. And then they had a dance where I would do Catherine Dunham, who was from the community. So we do Dunham technique, and then they had this dome where all the sports, badminton, ping pong, you name it, basketball. And that's how I got involved in track and field. So.
That's amazing. Now, you said something that stood out to me. I always like to ask people, who are your idols, who you look up to? But you said you try to do the best you can do. So how does one, particularly our youth, create a balance in being the best they can with the gifts that they have, but yet, look to glean from somebody? Because I think a lot of times we try to imitate and be, I'm gonna be the next Oprah. Well, you can't be the next Oprah, but you can be the best you can be the best Jackie, the best Kenitra. So what's the balance there?
Yeah, for me, I always stress to the young people that I work with is to, make their own imprints. And to me, study Jackie Joyner-Kersee, the person, find, the substance behind me and what I stand for could never be taken away. the gold medals and the records, yes, they're in the books today. They could be gone tomorrow. Gold medals and all that could be taken away at any given time. But my commitment to hard work and believing that I could be the best that I could be, and that's not winning, but it's knowing that I worked hard every day. And when I go out there and I do my best, because coaches and people give up their time trying to make me a better athlete than I was yesterday. So I think it's important in finding that balance with our young people is that we're all unique. We all have different gifts, but we all have the ability to work hard. And that's what I believe that's what we should be striving for, to work hard, and then whatever comes out of that will be the rewards from your hard work.
One of those rewards from your hard work was a college scholarship to UCLA. How would you describe your environment and compare East St. Louis to the glitter of LA?
Well, I'm often asked that question, but to me, I knew why I was going out to UCLA. I knew that this was the avenue that I chose to go down. And I knew that I had to really focus on my goals. I had to really focus on the things that I wanted to achieve. And you get out in LA and people like, for me, the only fast lane was when I was lined up in the blocks trying to go over hurdles. I wasn't trying to keep up with nobody else, or wasn't losing sight of who I am. And so, but that is a hard balance for some people, because sometimes, you're 17, 18 years of age, you leave home and you have all this freedom. But I just knew that this is my opportunity, and I have to take advantage of this opportunity, because I didn't want it to be taken away from me. And I truly believe that I could easily lose it if I lost focus.
One of those losses that you had to endure not long after arriving at UCLA was the loss of your mother, who passed from illness. How did that impact you at such a young age?
It was, that was extremely tough, because when I got ready to go off to school, I wasn't able to see my mom, and because of circumstances that was happening within our home. And so when I left to leave for UCLA, it was September, and one of the conversations my mom would always have was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna be homesick, I'm gonna be okay." I get all the way out there, we on the phone every night, and I'm like, "Oh no, I'm having a great time, everything is good." I'm like, "Oh," when I hang up the phone, because I didn't want her to worry about me, And so, but when my mother passed, it was really, it was a wake-up call, because when you are a teenager and a youngster, and when your parents are showing you love and giving you advice, and we as young people have a tendency like, "I don't want to hear that. Oh, Mom, why you so strict? Why I can't do this?" And so my mom would make me read the paper to keep up with current events, to know what was going on, and I was like, "Well, I gotta do all this." And when my mom passed away, I'm 17, 18, and all I had was to reflect on the things that she was teaching me to be strong, because now I am truly on my own. I don't have my best friend where I can have a conversation, and I know whatever I share with my mom is not going to go anywhere. I don't have to worry about, if I say something, I won't have to worry about hearing it again. That was no longer there, and so I really, came home. But one of the conversations we would often have too is that we got a scholarship, you go to school. And now I had the scholarship going for me, and it was just best to go back, because I went home, wanted to go to that community center, and it had padlocks on it. And I'm like, "Where did the kids go?" I'm like, "Oh, I want to try to reopen it. Mind you, I don't have no job. We don't even have a place to live." So, but I got a dorm, and I got free scholarship. I can get free meals. I gotta get back on that plane. Get back out to California. That's what I did.
Now, you talk about suffering such a loss at a young age, and for some people, that would have been the moment that they might have just stopped in their tracks. When you got back, think back when you got back to UCLA, what kept you going? Because that's overcoming a major obstacle, and then to go to the point where you are from basketball to track, it's a testimony.
Well, what kept me going was that it wasn't an option for me to give up. And I think just the goals that, I shared with my mom, and, because my mom she really didn't understand what I was doing athletically. She didn't. She was like, you're going to get a job, and you're going to go to school. We would go to the grocery store together, and the clerk would say, oh, I read about you. My mom like, what you in the newspaper for? I was like, I had a competition, I did well, So, and when I would talk to her about, I want to go to the Olympics, she's like, yeah, okay, I'll catch the bus and come see you. So she had no clue, So, but once it happened and, she wasn't there, it was just, you just stay focused, I lost my train of thought, what you asked me.
But you actually went to college on a basketball scholarship, not track and field. In this day and age, do you think it's still possible for female athletes to be standout two-sport athletes in college? Or do they have to specialize and pick one?
Oh, no. I think it's possible not only to be standout in two sports, but I think that female should be in decision-making positions, all those opportunities that we should do, given the opportunity that it's possible, because even with me in college, it was mainly about time management, prioritizing, and, and sacrificing. And so I think that it's possible.
You go from UCLA to the Olympics. 6 Olympic medals, including 3 golds. What was the greatest lesson learned from your collective Olympic experience?
The greatest lesson learned from the collective experience was not to second guess myself and believe in myself first and allow my coaches to coach me to the goals that I had set for myself. And in '84, my first Olympic Games, I had an injury, but the injury wasn't as bad as mentally I made it out to be. And when my physical therapist and my coaches was telling me I was ready, like doubting everything they were saying because my leg is black and blue and I got a bandage on my leg, and I'm like, I ain't never been injured before, so that means something gotta be wrong. So when I go to the stoic blocks, I didn't go thinking like a champion. I was looking for a pain that was never there, and throughout the 2-day competition, I didn't replenish my fluids, I didn't eat in between the events. All I kept searching for a pain that never came. And the only time that pain came is when I ran the 800 meters and they told me I was silver medalist instead of gold medalist. But, so I can honestly say that it was my dream, at 14, my coaches said I had the potential. And they saw something in me that I didn't know I had. And I wanted to go to the Olympics, and they said I had to be willing to work hard. I had my first shot at it, and I second guessed, and I doubted. And I remember when I think I was 12, and a gentleman said to me, win when you can win. I didn't quite understand or understood what that meant until in 1984. So I left those Olympic Games saying, if God blessed me to make another Olympic team, I want to be the toughest athlete out there mentally, because physically I know I can do it, but mentally I got to get it together.
That's amazing. Now, you talk about people looking at you and seeing your gifts and your talents. It sounds like you had some mentor figures in your life. How important is that, particularly for our young girls, to have that, to somebody to help them build that confidence and knowing that they can do what they were put on this earth to do?
Yeah, I think it's very important. A lot of times we, as young people, I'm not young now, but we take we take sometimes the people that's the closest to us for granted, and sometimes our best mentors are the people right in front of us. It could be our mom, our grandmother, our aunt, our sister, and yes, I mean there are other people out there in the world that are doing great things too. But a lot of times, the people who really care about you are not going to tell you what you want to hear. They're going to tell you the truth, and sometimes the truth might hurt, but in reality, that's what you need to hear, so you won't lose focus on the things that you want to accomplish out of life. So I do feel that it's important, you know, for role models, you know, even with myself, regardless if I like it or not. I know there's someone out there listening to me, so I really, really, you know, strive, you know, to be a great messenger. And the message that I deliver is always positive. And I always try to find the good in everyone, and I always try to find a way to uplift someone, you know, and I think we all can do that.
Your greatest adversary wasn't necessarily Germany's Heike Dressler. You dealt with a common opponent and hurdle all your life in asthma. How did you cope? How did you manage? And how did you excel with that ailment?
Oh, it was tough. Oh, and you're right, because I put asthma right with the Russians and the Germans. Because there were times when I looked like a world-class athlete, and there's times I looked like I shouldn't even be out there. And that was because I was living in denial. I didn't want to accept the fact that I am an asthmatic. Even today, I'm no longer competing. I still have to stay on my medication and do the things to keep my asthma under control. But it came to a point where I had to stop living in denial because there were days when, you know, like Mondays, we would have a mile time trial. And I would run really well. Then the next day, I couldn't even run 200 meters, you know, and I'd be like, oh, I'm out of shape. And they're like, you're not out of shape. You know, you got an asthmatic condition, you know. So I had to really, in order for me to respect asthma, because I would run and I perform and I would do well, but on the inside I knew that it was getting the best of me. But most people that was watching me, they go, oh, Jackie, she's doing great, but they just don't know I was battling all the time. And my biggest fear was like, Lord, please don't let me have no attack running 800 meters. You know, all kind of things would go through my mind. So yes, I made it one of my opponents, and I was like, you're not going to beat me. So I'm gonna get my asthma under control so you can't control me, because right now, it was beating me. And I did not want no German, no Russian, or anyone else in the world to beat me. And that's where asthma was right there, right along with them. Enemy.
Making her have flashbacks. Now, do we have any female athletes in the room?
Oh, yes.
Can we raise your hands? What would you say are the top 3 keys that female athletes need to be successful, whether they do it and excel in college, or maybe they just do it in high school? What would you say to them as ladies, as our future women, our future, somebody in here might go to the Olympics, okay? Let's name it and claim it. What are 3 keys that you would give them for success?
I would say, 1, always be coachable. Be willing to listen, and always work ethic. You gotta work hard. There's no substitute for it.
Ooh, I hear silence.
You know, we see in the Olympics, you see the glare of the sprints, the 100, the 200, the relays, but you were a heptathlete. To have, what discipline did it take to excel in 5 events to become a gold medalist and a world record holder?
When I was younger, we didn't know what the multi-events were. Our coaches just, you know, you young athletes out there, they just throw us in the event. You're gonna go do it, you know. And I didn't know how to hurdle, and I didn't hurdle in high school or even age group. I only would do it during the Junior Olympics. So it took me a while to learn how to 3 steps, you know, because I do 5 steps or whatever. But eventually, once you learn that 3-step, it just comes, and it's like, wow, you know, it's like, oh, I could have been doing this all along. And so doing all the events, I think that for me, I know, and I might be put on the spot, but Alexa that's here. Stand up, please. Great multi-winner. And, okay, I want to keep you standing, but thank you. But no, she's from the area, and the reason I asked her to stand up, and there might be more, but I communicate with Alexa, and that there's a lot of young ladies that want to do the 100, the 200, the 400. No, they don't really want to do the 400, but but if they do, sprints, jumps, and I believe for us when I say, because I'm on the USA Track and Field board, and when I look at our sport, and you look at it from a world eye view or a global view, is that our next medals are going to come from the multi-events as well as women triple jump, because we live in a nation that is blessed with so much talent, and I cannot believe that we can't find one young lady that can make the A standard to represent us on the Olympic level. So that means that we do not get medals in the triple jump, and we really suffer. I won't know suffer is too strong of a word, but we really not consistent in the multis. And so for any young girl out there, I love that you love the sprints, and I love that you, but multi-events, I'm telling you, you can run the 100, you can run the 200, you can do the hurdles, you learn how to high jump, you learn how to long jump. The multi-events keep you humble. At one time they have you on cloud 9 and it knock you back down to reality. But I just think that it takes, I'm biased, it takes a special person to want to do the multi-events, because it's a lot of work. A lot of work.
And Alexa is certainly special. Her skill and her talent has earned her a scholarship to the University of Texas.
I know.
My alma mater. So, now, with the Jackie Joyner-Kersee Foundation, what are you most proud of?
What I'm most proud of is the young people that have come through those doors and gone on and being very successful, and to have a building where young people and families can come and feel safe, and that, I think that's it.
That's good. Okay, now this question is kind of a selfish question, so bear with me. One thing I've always admired about female athletes, not only your discipline to be strong, but the physique, keeping all that up, and the diet and everything. Can you give some secrets on that, please? I told you it was a selfish question, hey.
Well, I believe in being fit for life, and I don't get to work out as much as I would like, but I don't want to work out at the level I used to work out at either. So I asked my husband for a workout. He get ridiculous, He wanted to give me like 600. I'm like, oh no, I want to run 50 meters. I don't want to run 600. But what I do now is that I try to, if I'm going to walk, I do a lot of walking, and walk, a mile under an hour. And if the weather is bad, I'm on the treadmill at, 4.0 or 4.5, and walking at 15 minutes. And, try to get 4 miles in and do my drills. Weightlifting, and if I can't do weightlifting, then I find different things to do, like in a hotel room, or squats or crunches, planks. If I'm watching this show in an hour, I can get a good workout in. So
You planked the whole time?
yeah, but it's like intervals. No, you might do a minute off. No, because you go a minute, then 45 seconds, then 30 seconds, 15. That's one set, and you go back and do it again.
But don't you think strong bodies for females, for me, I don't think it's necessarily about what's on the scale, but having a strong, fit body and healthy eating that helps build esteem, whether you're an athlete or not.
Yes, and I think it starts with the mind. Mentally, you're strong, and the toughest part is just starting and doing something. You know, you don't have to start off, you know, doing an hour. You can just start with 5 minutes, and then you build that 5 minutes up to 10 minutes. But it's doing something, and I do feel that, you know, we live in a society that's very judgmental, and it's unfortunate because one of the things when I work with our young girls is really, you know, it really stress on them, you know, it's not the superficial look. And even though we live in a society that really promotes that, but still it's being true to who they are and know that that's a beauty on the inside and let that beauty come out, because that artificial, superficial beauty, you know, it's good, but it's fading.
Wait, what I want to know is, where are the Olympic medals?
Oh, they're at my aunt's house.
It's real about your aunt's house.
Yes.
Well, how did you go from having Bob Kersee, the coach, to Bob Kersee, the man in my life, to become my husband, to you becoming Jackie Joyner-Kersee?
Oh, it's in the book. No. No. Well, you know, Bobby and I, we spent a lot of time together, and we are great friends, and it just went from him coaching me to us having a relationship. But as a part of it, we said that if we're going to take it to that next level, we had to remain friends. And that I had to really, really, both ways, respect him as my coach and him respect me, you know, and because a lot of times, like in training, you know, your friends, I mean, because I train with some of the best athletes in the world, and Bobby's a very demanding person and coach, and a lot of times if I wasn't doing what he was asking me to do on the field, and then if he was getting on me, my friends would see the husband, you know, like yelling at Jackie, and I'm like, well, then when you got your arm in 90 degrees, why is it okay he yelling at you? So, you know, don't confuse the two. You know, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So, and then we go home, you know, he's supposed to take the trash out, you know, and he know I doesn't cook well, so it went, you know, so we had great, so it worked well.
You spoke earlier about being fit for life, and it comes after the fact that the Eastern Bloc female athletes test positive for steroids and performance-enhancing drugs. How were you able to excel but do it pure without the help of drugs?
Yeah, like I said, there's no substitute for hard work. And even, you know, throughout my career, you know, there were speculation about me and all of us, but you know what? You live with it and you keep doing what you're doing. You keep working hard, you keep getting out there performing well. And really, I couldn't really focus on what they were doing, but really just making sure that I was ready, because Heike Drexler, I don't know if she did drugs or not, but she was one person that I knew when I stepped on the track that I had to be ready to go. And a tough competitor, but you know, there is no substitute for hard work. There's no pill, there's no nothing. You gotta get out there, you gotta do the work. And I think when you do the work, the results that you're looking for, they might not come when you want them to, but they're gonna come.
Well, we now are gonna open the floor to you all, and there's a microphone here in the aisle, and we'd love for you to ask any questions you have for Jackie.
Folks, come on up and queue up to the
Take
mic.
advantage.
So we can hear your questions. But one comment I'm going to make before we start, I neglected in my earlier comments to recognize this event would not be possible without the help of the Palestine Prowlers track team. We want to thank them for coming out and supporting the parents, sponsors, and coaches.
CMG wants you to always remember, the victory we call success goes to the best prepared. When you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself. Thanks.